Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to my channel. This is Thomas Daka Tavi Kumavok, senior English and French teacher, professional translator, and author of la sémantique à la traduction, une approche sémantico-morphosyntaxique de la traduction. In this short video, I will tell you why machine translation is not good. You see, machine translation, whether it's come from neural artificial intelligence or generative artificial intelligence, machine translation is not reliable. So I will discuss only two of its drawbacks to let you know why I believe that this is not machine translation is not a solution in translation studies. The first point is that machine translation gives you literal translation, which is not high quality translation. Literal translation leans on word for word translation, which is not reliable because this type of translation is based upon the direct meaning of the resources, the lexical and grammatical resources which are used. So this has to do with literal translation has to do with the direct meaning of word. So however, translation is not word for word because the meaning does not come only from the word. In this course, the meaning is partly comes from the word, but most importantly from the speaker, from extralinguistic parameters, and crucially from the speaker intention. So meaning comes from the mind. Meaning has to do with the intention, what the speaker want to say. So the first drawback of machine translation, as I said, is that whether it is machine translation coming from neural artificial intelligence or generative artificial intelligence, machine translation is literal, and literal translation is very misleading. It's true that in some contexts it may work when the intention matches with the message. It can be accepted, but this is not a good option. It is not always sure that we are going to have this kind of scenario where the meaning, the intended meaning, matches with the intention. So that's the first point. Machine translation is literal, and literal translation is not a reliable translation. That's the first point. The second drawback of machine translation is that it doesn't take into account circumstances, the circumstances surrounding discourse, which means that if the source text entails error, then machine translation will not consider this error. It will simply it will simply work on the material that you give, that the information that you provide. So whether the text entails error, this is not machine translation concern. Machine translation will simply give you the text as you inserted it in your translation tool. So that is a significant drawback of this type of translation, because if the text is fraught with errors, then the machine which you used, the tool that you use to translate automatically, will obviously reproduce the same error. And worse, if the text is let's say, even if the text is well written, experience has proven that machine translation or neural or generative artificial intelligence, this type of intelligence, machine translation sometimes leave out some information. This means that if you put a whole paragraph in a machine engine like DeepL or Chat GPT, if you are not careful, you are going to realize that some information may be missing, because the tool that you are using will not translate all the information that you inserted. Although you gave the whole paragraph to the translation tool, to the machine translation tool, it will not reproduce all the translation. Sometimes it leaves out information. So this proves that whatever we do, we always have in translation, we always need to, we should have human. In other words, human should run the show. Human should be in command, because first, as I put it, literal translation, which comes from machine translation, is not reliable. This is misleading. And second, if the source text entails error, the machine the machine will translate this text with the same error and reproduce the same error. And the third point is that even if the source text is well written, the machine, when you use machine translation, when you use some engines of machine translation, you are going to realize that those engines will leave out information, or they will even commit mistakes. That's why when, for instance, you carry out research on the internet, you are going to see that you will receive answers which are not always correct. That is why humans are very important when it comes to translation. So this is the end of this video. I hope that you will like it, and don't forget to subscribe and share. And if you have any question or any comment, you can leave it under the comment section below, and we are going to discuss. Okay, thank you, and see you soon.